All right, 1 minute. So we're live real quick. I'm going to share this into a bunch of groups. And so as you guys are coming in, please just let us know where you guys are from and where you're watching from so we can at least shout you guys out. We're going to let this show up real quick. Man. Yeah, how was the mastermind this time?
It was good. It wasn't as big as last time. There was literally people that had the coronavirus like in their office, so they didn't want to come. So it wasn't as big, but I mean, it was good. I mean, I'd say last time was better, but it was good. It's always good to like get around people that are like-minded, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only people who weren't there was Jamil and Pace, right?
Jamil and Pace wasn't there. Jesse couldn't make it. Evo was there. But yeah, I mean, you weren't there, and there was a couple other guys. I think that for some reason I was thinking what's Carlos's partner's name?
Sal.
Sal wasn't there. Alex Stays wasn't there.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, a decent amount of people weren't there. We're just
Right.
waiting for this to get live. I don't know what's going on, but we'll just start off. Get that ticker going.
You started a call center, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the call center, you know how it is, going through other services, getting burned, not being happy with the quality.
Yep.
And then I just learned how to, pretty much same thing I learned how to source them at mass and get them trained up well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, might as well just make it a call center.
Yeah.
And
so that's cold calling?
Yeah, cold calling. We offer leads managers, cold calling. What else? Texters, but what I'm seeing now in like the texting market, I don't know if it's really effective for someone to be handling that all day long.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my honest opinion.
Get expensive versus just handling as they come in.
Yeah, you know, like because like if you're gonna pay us, obviously we have an hourly rate, and I just look at it. You cannot send the amount of text that'll keep that person busy.
Yeah.
And like have it not burn through your money and have your deliverability rate up and everything else. That's just what I think and what we've seen. I don't know what you learned at the mastermind, but
yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the guys were saying too that their texting is becoming less and less of effective.
Yeah.
So a lot of, you know, we've had pretty good success with it, but we don't overdo it. Like we do postcards, texting, cold call. I mean, we do everything you could think of. We just do really, you know, specific things that work. Versus like I know some guys, that's all they do is I'm just going to send 5,000 texts this week, you know, don't do it that way.
Yeah. I don't like, doing it that way. Like for us, it really stopped working like altogether. Like we are picking up leads from like January and they're coming back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Sending them out, like our responses weren't good. We just weren't getting that much feedback from it. And at a point in time, it was like my biggest thing. Like when we talked in January, texting, I was getting deals at like $800 a deal. And then we were spending way more than that. We weren't getting anything out of it.
Yeah, no, that's not good. I noticed a lot of the guys saying, and I've never stopped doing direct mail. We've just done direct mail for a long, long time, and it's just so effective. But a lot of the guys are saying they were having good success with direct mail again, which makes sense, you know?
Yeah. And Matt and Don are probably the biggest in our market. I know you know Matt. I don't know if you know Don. Matt sends out a ton of direct mail, and I know Don's the same thing. Where direct mail is like their main business. Oh
yeah, you're talking Matt Garabedian. Yeah. He just moved to Florida.
Yeah, him and DM.
Same neighborhood.
What's going on, Steven? Same neighborhood too.
Yeah, they live in the same. And I've been to Mark's house. The neighborhood is unbelievable. So,
all right, we'll get started. Can you introduce yourself and just tell us about some of your awesome accomplishments that you've done, man?
Oh, man, I love talking about myself. No, I mean, I'm Matt Larson. I've been in real estate 15 years, started in 2005. I don't come from money. Grew up in a small town in Illinois. The first investment property I did for real estate was also the first property I had ever done at that time. I hadn't even bought a house for myself to live in. Started slow. 2005 was a tough market. Did 12 deals my first year and just cranked up from there. In 2008, I went full time. By 2013, I had 450 houses in my portfolio, had flipped 1,000 plus houses. My team has grown over the years. We've I've done 20 deals a month for a decade. And my team, I've got a big team in Iowa. That's where I do all my deals in the Quad Cities. We have 18,000 square feet. We also we have our own mini Lowe's where we, buy product up to 80% off because of the volume I buy. I'm able to, leverage that volume and number of rehabs we do. So we buy, some stuff direct to manufacturer. We get leverage all these different discounts, which gives me a pretty big advantage when it comes to the rehab side. But yeah, I mean, we just crank along, man. And the cool thing about it is, probably my favorite thing is my real estate company runs on its own. I don't work a lot in the company, even though we do 20 plus deals a month. I typically put in less than 5 hours a week into the real estate business. I've basically learned how to automate the company with a lot of virtual assistants, which is one of the products that I sell on the education side, because we have done so well with it, and it just flat out absolutely works on its own. So we do a lot with virtual assistants. So yeah.
Yeah, I think your virtual assistant game is awesome. And then I remember talking to you about it in January. You're like, I work 5 hours a week really because I want to work 5 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, I got really bored. So the reason I started, it's so funny because I think a lot of guys do a little bit of real estate and then they go in and decide to, start selling education. I did just the opposite. So what I did was I've done over 4,000 deals. It's probably closer to 5. I always say 4. I asked my attorney to compile like all the transactions I had done in my career. And he's like, Matt, I'm going to have to hire a special person just to come into the office to start pulling this data. And I'm going to charge him big bucks for doing that. So I'm like, we know we've done 4,000. We don't have to prove that we've done 5, but so all these years of doing all these deals, and I really dialed in. I wanted, the biggest problem with real estate investing is you leave a job that you probably work 40 plus hours on that you don't like, to get into real estate, to work 80 plus hours a week. And that same thing happened to me. I mean, I got into it and I was working a ton of hours and I was like going nuts, just trying to keep all the things together. It's like juggling like, a bunch of plates in the air, and you miss one, it falls, it breaks. And so I just had success with virtual assistants. I started driving super deep with that, really dialing in processes and building specific step-by-step how-tos for every process in the whole company. And then I eventually got to the point where I literally could step away from the company and let the thing run on its own. And I was sitting at home and I was bored and I needed something else to do. So I thought, what if I start selling education? And just, I don't have to create any products. Like the stuff I use in my day-to-day business is the product. All I had to do was put a fancy cover on it or put some cool graphics to it. And that's all we did. That's when I started the education company at the beginning of this year. That's all I did. All the products were there. We just had to tweak them and make them look good. But I'm very process driven. I'm, everything we've done in our company for the last 3 years has been process. Doesn't matter how simple it is, build a process around it so that you can duplicate that thing. Yep. Doesn't matter.
And I want to get back to that. Let's start off. What did you do before real estate? And are you still with Dean? You don't do anything with Dean. I created all of Dean Graziosi's real estate education for like 8 or 9 years. If you bought anything from Dean between probably like 2009 and 2005, probably 2016 or 17, because I know even after I stopped creating his education, he was still selling stuff for quite a while. But if you bought anything from Dean that was education-wise during those years, it came from me. I created all that stuff. And so, no, I don't do that anymore. For me, it just makes more sense to do it on my own. But before real estate, I was a machine shop worker. I got out of high school, didn't really know what to do, ended up going to college. Went to college for 1 semester, and after that semester was done, they told me I couldn't come back. Wish I could say I dropped out, but they forced me out. So evidently my GPA was so low, they didn't want it to ruin their stats. So I left there and went to work at a local machine shop, and I did that for years. And then I got into real estate at 30 years old. So. Wow.
Yep.
And it's never too late, which I think it's awesome because you don't really hear about people getting into it later in life. Even though 30 is not later in life, you have all the younger gurus who are like, oh, I did this. I'm like 25 and it's just what I've done since college.
Yeah. That's a great point. I do feel like there's a lot of times I'm like, man, where would I be right now if I had gotten into real estate after high school? I mean, who knows? But I'm super jealous of all you young guys that are smart enough to get into it and have the right direction in life for somebody to say, hey, you need to pay attention to this real estate thing because it's amazing. But I wish I would have, I wish I would have gotten started, 10 years before I do. Like the old saying goes, the best time to plant a tree, or the second best time to plant a tree is today. The first best time is 10 years ago. Yep. So, but we can't go back in time. And I made up for a lot of lost time. I mean, 2013, I did 1,000 deals in just that year. And so I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals for years and years and years. So I made up for a lot of lost time there. So.
Hi, Jenna. Thank you so much for watching. Paul wants to know, how much money do you have to save up
to do my first deal?
When you left, right? So like, I know your story. You want to tell them,
okay,
so transition.
Yeah. So I got into real estate. I had about $20,000 in credit card debt and I had about $700 in my bank account. That's when I did my very first deal. Okay. So, but I was still working full time while I was doing that for 3 years. So to give you the exact numbers, November 10th, 2005, I did my very first deal. I set a goal to be 100% out of my job within 3 years. Now in 2005, the economy was amazing. Now fast forward 3 years ago to November of 2008. I mean, it was the worst recession since the Great Depression. I had no idea when I set that goal 3 years prior that that's what I'd be facing. But I did. I left my job November 7th, 2008. So I finished 3 days early on the original goal that I had set. And at that time in 2008, I was able to leave because I had built up about $5,000 a month in passive income cash flow from my rentals after all expenses were paid. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not a lot of money. Back then I thought it was a lot of money, but I had very low expenses. By that time I had paid off a lot of my debt. I didn't have a lot of expensive bills. I lived in one of the houses that I was going to flip that I got really, really cheap. So that was all I needed. I mean, I just didn't have a lot of monthly expenses at that point. But the cool part was getting back all of my time and focusing 100% of my time to real estate from November of 2008, 4 years, within 4 years. I mean, I had millions of dollars in cash saved up and that 450 house portfolio. So that time, I had a good experience for 3 years where I'm just hustling, grinding. And one of the toughest real estate markets to be in was 05, 06, 07. I mean, that was tough. So very, very competitive. Everybody that wanted to buy a house didn't matter if you had cash or not, because you could just go to the bank and get the money. So I learned I learned the school of hard knocks during those years and did well. So when 2008 hit, 9, 10, I mean, it was a gift. I mean, it was easy to get deals. I mean, I had to close my marketing down just to slow the flow, because what I want you guys to be excited about, anybody that's watching right now, you should be very excited, because if you're busting your butt right now and hustling hard to get deals, what you don't realize is that in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, whenever the market crashes, it could be 6 months, it could be next month, I have no idea. When that market crashes and it shifts hard into a buyer's market, you need 10% of the effort you're doing right now to get 10 times the number of deals. I'll never forget taking the calls in 2009 and 10 were unbelievable years. And I remember the leads would come in, they were coming in so fast. I would literally be telling sellers, I'm like, listen, just do this. Go get a bandit. I literally was teaching sellers bandit signs, like, go put a sign up around. I've got too many leads coming in. I can't buy all these houses. Go put up signs around your house that say this, this, and this. Put them here, put them there. Do this, do that. And people were calling me back saying, "Man, I really appreciate you trying to help me, teach me how to sell my house. But would you just buy my house for me?" So it actually backfired and made me get deals even cheaper. And so, but that's what happened. Now it went from really, really hard in 06 to really, really easy in 2009. And that same thing's going to happen again. All you young guys that weren't around during the last downturn are going to find out it's amazing. It's a gift. So just gotta be ready. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Where does one start? I would say YouTube, like buying courses. A lot of people are against buying courses, but like for Matt's stuff, like Matt's done 4,000 deals, and I spent a lot of money just to be in a room with him for a day. I spent a lot of money to go to dinner with him. Like just getting around people like that and having people shortcut your processes. And like just the learning curve is my biggest thing where I think you should start.
Yeah, here's the thing: is there's a lot of people out there that are kind of anti-guru, and I'm actually with them. I'm on the same side of the table as them, because the problem is since the advent of social media, there's a lot of people that are kind of faking it. They really haven't done much. I mean, I never call anybody out, but I know a lot of the guys that are faking it. When I was doing a lot of education and on the speaking circuit, I was in the back rooms on stages with people that weren't doing anything at all, no deals, and they were on stage telling people they were crushing it. So I get the whole, I see when it comes to education, but you can learn a ton from YouTube if you have absolutely no money to invest in your education. I still go on YouTube sometimes and I'm looking stuff up, but I'm real big on paying for education. So I've gotten to the point where I'm at right now. I don't really know anybody that's done more deals than me, but I spent $90,000 on my personal real estate education, business education in 2019. This year, so far, I've already spent a little more than that, a little over 35,000 so far this year. And so I'm very big on education. I believe you should invest in yourself, but everybody has a starting point. And when I got started, YouTube wasn't really a thing back then. There's a lot of things different now, but you can start with YouTube, get your feet wet. If you get to the point where you are ready to find somebody that to learn from, just verify that they're, put the word out and make sure that they're actually doing deals. It's not, believe it or not, I can't believe is as powerful as the internet is, people can still fake the fact that they're doing deals. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're going to get started, you should get, you could start with simple with some stuff on YouTube, get a cheap book on, I wrote a book for $10 that you can buy for $10, that just teaches you how to find hidden houses. That's the name of the book, Hidden Houses. It's a very simple, very easy entree into the real estate world, just finding a good deal. If you want to be successful in real estate, you can get one thing right, and that one thing fixes almost everything. And that one thing is buying a super discounted property. You get that piece right, everything else is easy. So that's one way to focus.
Yep, give yourself a lot of room.
Mm-hmm.
So how you got started? So what's your life like now, Matt? What are you doing day to day? I remember we were talking about, you're like, I'm bored. And so you went into education. Man,
I tell you, I'm like flying on private jets everywhere. No, I'm serious. I'm just joking, man. I don't do a lot. I'm pretty boring. I'll be 45 in 2 months. And I literally, like I was just telling you, I flew to Phoenix last week to go to a mastermind, and I was just miserable. The whole traveling thing was miserable. Face masks everywhere, everything shut down. So I've been anti-travel this year. I mean, most people have, but my day-to-day, I'm
like,
sitting.
What's your morning routine?
Like my morning routine. So I have a personal. So I spent, I think like 25, 30 grand on this home gym. I had a custom home gym put in my house. Literally, like they came CAD'd out the whole thing. I built an addition onto my house, which created a 2.5 car garage into a sweet gym. So every morning I have a trainer that I pay, comes to my house, and we do a workout, typically around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes later, depending on what he's got going or I have going. So I start out there, but I get up about an hour before that, and I write out. I'm big on yellow pads. I always have a yellow pad near me. And I write out what I want to get done for the day. Some people do this the night before. I'm very big on it the morning of, because by the end of my day, I'm burnt. My brain's it's fried. So I get up in the morning after a good night's sleep. I typically sleep 6 to 7 hours. And I get up in the morning and I write down the stuff that I want to do for the day. Typically, it's only 4 or 5 things, 3 to 5 things. If I put too much on my plate, it won't get done. And I shouldn't be putting stuff on my to-do list anyway. I put it on my team. I'm very big on delegating. So of those 3 to 5 things, typically those things are going to somebody else on my team. So I write out my plan. I go work out. I come back. I eat breakfast. And then from there, I just execute on the things that need to be done. I don't spend a lot of time in the real estate company, so there's not a lot of time going there. And then we just, I'm kind of obsessing over my education company right now. So I'm spending a lot of time there. But honestly, I have 3 dogs, a girlfriend, an 11-year-old. And so that's kind of where I spend my time. I don't want to say I'm not a hard worker, because I spent years and years and years working very, very hard, lots and lots of hours. But I don't overwork myself. I have a lake house that I go to every single week for 3 days of the week, and I just enjoy. I don't do any work while I'm there. But that's it, man. I'm 45 almost, and I'm trying to figure out, like, do I want to retire completely at 50? Am I going to keep doing real estate? I don't know. I just really, really love. I love the education side of things. I love the art of the deal. Even though in my company, I'm not in control of what we buy or what we sell it for or any of the process. Literally, somebody on my team makes a decision. They have buying power. They buy what they feel is a good deal. We close on it, and it goes through the whole process, and I'm not involved in any of the pieces. So, but I still love the engine. So I love doing deals, but I'm getting into some other stuff too. I got other hobbies and other business ideas that we're working on, but that's about it, man.
Yeah, I can't see you retiring at 50, honestly.
Yeah, I probably. So I got several friends that are about to exit companies that they've built, and I would never retire if I didn't have friends to hang with during the day.
Yeah.
But I have a few friends that are like planning their exits right now to sell their companies and all that. And that's the only thing that put it in my mind. Cause I don't want to be bored. There's nothing worse. You end up, if you get bored and you have nothing to do, it's just, you end up sitting on the couch, watching TV, eating too much food and drinking too much beer, So I want to avoid that scene.
And then I think one thing that, he's like, oh, wow, he grew so much in those 4 years when you got started, and you said you're not a hard worker. We'll cover that real quick. I remember you telling me I didn't listen to anything but the self-development and education until I was financially free. Like, you just made it a point.
100%. Totally dedicated myself to, I didn't listen to the radio for over about 3 years. If I was in my car, but keep in mind, guys, this is 15 years ago. These iPhones and stuff, that wasn't around back then. So if I was in my car, I listened to a CD, a book on CD or inspirational stuff. Always, never listened to the radio. Didn't ever have the radio on in 3 years at all. And I read a lot of books. I didn't watch any TV. In fact, I gave my TV away. I got rid of it. So when I was at home, I was either working on my real estate business or I was reading books. So I was listening to books during the day. At night, I was reading books, and I was just fully self-development. And I had a lot to work on. I was a messed up guy. I mean, I was very angry all the time. I had a bad, very, very poor, very short fuse, very angry person for years, just the way I grew up. That's just my personality type. But enough self-help books fix all that. So I'm a pretty happy guy. I can get hit with a, hey, Matt, you just lost, $20,000 on this such and such today. And I'm, over in about 5 seconds. So no big deal. But yeah, I mean, I obsessed. I went all in. I mean, that was, Tony Robbins talks about total immersion, and it's the deal. Like, you can get to success really, really fast, or you can take the slow road. I like getting stuff done really fast. So I just devoured education as fast as I could.
Yeah. Would you recommend a first flip using virtual assistants? I've only purchased buy and holds the traditional way. Made the career change recently to real estate industry as a mortgage loan officer, and I'm pretty occupied in the current market.
Yeah. So here's the thing is, people ask me all the time, Matt, if you could go back to your 30-year-old self, what would you do different? Well, the first thing I would do is get a virtual assistant immediately. Imagine this. This is what's possible. Imagine this. You work 40, 50, 60 hours a week at your normal job. You get up in the morning, you got to get to work, but you get up in the morning 15 minutes to 30 minutes early. You give your virtual assistant a set of tasks to do. You go to work, you handle your job, you come home, the tasks are done. You just stepped forward your real estate business for pennies while you were working, doing the work, work that pays you more than what it would cost a virtual assistant. My virtual assistants range, typically 90% of them are $3 to $6 an hour. I do have one that makes $10 an hour. They're all from the Philippines. So in case you think I'm a cheapskate, that's actually really good money over there. But yeah, so 100%, I would go, if I could go back in time, I would get virtual assistants started earlier. The key to virtual assistants is, I always tell this story. I want to use an analogy because this is really important. I talk to people all the time. In fact, I had a guy call me like 3-4 weeks ago, and he was like, "Matt, I hear you talking about virtual assistants." He called me at 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday, like a covert phone call. "Hey, I hear you always talking about virtual assistants. Can you give me the real scoop? Like, you don't really use virtual assistants, right? They're not good at what they do. I hear everybody say they're just terrible." I'm like, "What? This is a legit dude that I know is doing deals. Like, he's legit. Like, he's a good guy." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah." He's just, "You can't use virtual." I'm like, no, virtual assistants are amazing. They've changed my life. But here's the analogy I gave him, and here's the analogy I'll give you to help you understand why some people fail with virtual assistants. It's not the virtual assistants, them. Here's why. Imagine you have the best laptop, best Apple computer money will buy. Okay, brand new, state of the art. You got brand new. You just pulled it out of the box, and you wanted to hire a computer programmer to code out a specific task on this computer. So you jump on Craigslist, you find a coder, that can code for, $8 an hour, $10 an hour. And you're like, "Okay, write this code and run this program." Coder gets in there, doesn't know what to do. Cheap guy off Craigslist, writes a code, hits enter to run the program, and the computer crashes. Now, is it the computer that's the problem here, or is it the code that the low skilled guy put in? It's the bad code. The guy wrote bad, broken code. That's why it crashed. The computer's fine. Well, that's, to give you an analogy, your virtual assistant's the computer. They just do what they're told to do. They follow a step-by-step plan. And if that step-by-step plan is missing a step, or is broken or fragmented information, doesn't complete or doesn't close the loop, you're going to get a very, very bad result. The programmer in that analogy is you. Like, if you hand off a bad process, don't blame the virtual assistant. It's not their fault. It's your fault. So what I did, the reason why we've been so successful for 5+ years with virtual assistants is because I focused and obsessed over perfect step-by-step processes that I could hand off, anybody could read, follow the directions, and you have a good result. If you handed some ingredients over to a cook and said, "Okay, take these ingredients and make me a cake," the ingredients aren't going to get the cake. Like, you have to have a recipe. Step 1 is do this. Step 2, mix this. Step 3, add this. Step 4, a recipe will get you a cake. A ingredient list will not. And that's where people think they're smart. They think, "Well, I've got all the ingredients right here. I'll just tell them, hey, go do these things and let me know how it works out." No, it doesn't work that. You have to take the time, do it right, create a step-by-step process, and make that work. And that's what, as kind of has how it worked out for me. When I decided to start my real estate education company at the beginning of the year, we had all these amazing processes already built for virtual assistants. And I was like, what could I sell? Like, what everybody has a wholesaling course, and I do too, but it's like, okay, everybody has that. But what really triggered it was I was looking around one day, and I'm a big education guy. I love education. Like I said, I spent $90,000 on my education in 2019. And I started Googling, I wanted to go deeper with virtual assistant. I knew I was really good with virtual assistants, but I'm like, I wonder if somebody's better. So I'm Googling, trying to find information I can buy about how to make my virtual assistants better and more powerful. And I bought everything I could find, and it was all total crap, total fluff, nothing usable. And it hit me. You know what? I will take all the processes that I've already built over the last several years that are made for virtual assistants, and I'll package them up and offer them to other people. And to be honest with you, I was nervous at the beginning because I know it's the best virtual assistant training out there. I was like, am I going to eliminate my unfair advantage over everybody. And I just started thinking small for a couple of days, and I kind of knocked myself out of it and said, you know what, I'm going to share it. So I launched it. I had some high level people buy my stuff, and I was actually kind of nervous because I'm like, man, is this stuff really that good? Like, this guy's doing, the guy that, one of these guys is doing 25 deals a month, and he buys my stuff, and he freaking sends me a message like, dude, this is unbelievable. And I was like, okay. And I just kept getting feedback after feedback after feedback from people's, and I realized it is pretty special. So that's kind of how that whole thing kind of progressed.
Okay. And so what do you use to document, right? So for us, we like go make a video for one of our VAs to handle it. And then one of our VAs is fantastic at documentation, and they handle it from there. They'll make step by step, page by page. I'll just do a video with them. Hey, I need you to go document this entire process.
That's very, very smart way to do it. Yeah, we basically do the same thing. I use sweetprocess.com.
Okay.
That is that's the website that builds the formatting for great processes. So that's the website we use for the actual step-by-step process. And then we also create a video with everything as well. Some people learn better with video. Some people can watch a video and learn better. Some people are better at following a step-by-step text with screenshots and other cool stuff in there to make it easy. But the one thing I do like about the text, if you're, most every process always has some kind of a website involved with, hey, go to this website, do this, do that. And people change their websites a lot. Take Zillow, for example. Zillow, you can go to Zillow one day, and 2 weeks later, it's like, wait a minute, what'd they move around? They moved everything around. You can't find anything. Well, when you film a video, now you have to restart over and film that video over again. With text, you can just say, okay, that screenshot's different. Take that one out, put this one in, fixed, gone. So it's a little bit easier to edit the text version, but video works really well because some people especially it seems like these young kids, they kind of they grew up on YouTube, and they kind of learn better from video and stuff.
Do you use Trainio at all?
I don't.
You don't? Do you have any type of software you put them on, or is it all in-house?
We built, all of our training is built through Kajabi.
Okay.
Yep. So we use all that, and that's not my expertise, to be honest with you. You could probably ask me a couple questions about that and trip me up. I just don't know a lot about that. I find people that can that are amazing at technology, and I plug them in and I say, here's what I'm looking for, go build it. So if you ask me a super techie question about software and stuff like that, I just don't really know. I know we do an amazing job because we build it out, but I focused my efforts on find the most amazing people you can to do a specific task, and that task being their unique ability, and then put them on that task. I'm not big on fitting a square peg through a round hole. Like, everybody has a unique ability. Like, some people are amazing at playing the piano. Some people are amazing at, poker. Some people are amazing at art. Some people are amazing. They can run the 40-yard dash really fast. Some people can lift heavy weights. Everybody has something they're good at. Not everybody's discovered that yet, but most people have discovered what they're amazing at. And what I found is if you want to be amazing in real estate, find the thing that really excites you, that one thing, and just go deep with that one thing. And that you can build an entire company around one amazing, unique ability. So for me, I'm very good at, I'm a puzzle. I build good puzzles. Like, I can take all these pieces and put them together and take these raw resources and turn it into something amazing. And the next thing you know, it's, I'm working 5 hours a week versus 80, so I've really focused my unique ability and spend all my time doing only the things that I'm amazing at. And I've taught my team the same way. So here's something pretty cool. So if anybody on my team, if I give somebody a task and it's going to take them 4 hours to complete, and they say, yeah, that's going to take me about 4 hours to do, but man, I can hire a virtual assistant to do that piece right off of Fiverr, and we can pay them $10 and they can do the same thing. In my company, my employees are allowed to go out and outsource their job. If they can save time,
okay.
if I'm paying somebody $25 an hour and it's going to take them 4 hours to do that job and it's $100, or they can find somebody on Fiverr for $10 to do the exact same thing. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take the guy on Fiverr. It could take him 2 days. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is I'm spending less money to get that task done. So I've ingrained it in my team's brains to also do what you're amazing at. And if you can outsource something cheaper, then you're stealing from me if you don't. Like, I'm literally telling them to work less. So you just get happier people. They're happy, they love their jobs, and they do put out an amazing product.
And where do you find your VAs? Upwork, Fiverr.
Yep. So if you're gonna do a one-off task, like, hey, I need this one thing done, and I'm probably never gonna do that one thing again, or I'm not gonna do it for another month or two, go to Fiverr. Really, really cheap. It's great because you do a search, go to the search bar, search whatever it is you're looking for. All these different things will come up, and everybody's rated on a 5-star review. So if you've got somebody that's done something and they have 50 reviews or more, and they're at a 4.8, 4.9 plus, like, that guy's pretty good at that thing. Like, he's done a good job. So, it's $5-10, get it done. So that's where we do the one-off task is Fiverr. And then for a full-time, you can go to upwork.com is a great place to start. Again, you can, now these are you would hire an Upwork person for like a part-time gig. Hey, I'm going to keep this person busy 20 hours a week, but they're going to be doing the same repetitive type of thing every day or every other day. For example, I have a gal, and she came to my mind because she copied me on an email earlier. Her name's Leslie. She came from Upwork, and she makes $3 an hour. Actually, I think she just got a raise to $4 an hour. But her job is to every single day, one of her tasks, she does multiple things. One of her tasks is to add 40 new cash buyers to my buyers list. So we created a process. Go here first, do this second, do this third, do this fourth. Magically, you've got a cash buyer. Here's how you get their email address. So she's got this process she creates, or that we created, that we handed off to her. And now every day, 40 new cash buyers hit my plate. That's one task she does out of many, but that's just part. Now, I wouldn't want to hire that person from Fiverr to do that, because with what she does, it's just repetitive every day. She's really good at it. She's really fast. And I have computers all over the place. I have a laptop there. There's one over there. There's a bunch at my office, and they log into these computers, and you can see how fast they work. I mean, screens are moving. I mean, it's hard to keep track. Like, these people are good at what they do. They're repetitive. They do it every day.
Why do you do it that way? Why do you have them sign in on remotely?
Mainly just because I think it's cool. I just like it. That's to be totally transparent. I just think it's neat. I like walking past the computer, seeing what they're working on. I love when people are visiting my office and I open the door where we keep all the laptops and you see all these screens moving. I think it's good for, just keeping track of people. And, it's just neat to me. Other than that, there's really no other reason other than if you're going to post Craigslist ads, you have to log into a remote computer. So you have a local IP address. That's the only other reason, but that's it. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's neat. You can buy a laptop for $300. It costs nothing to just team viewer right into it. And it's pretty fun.
And if you guys want to post Craigslist ads and they're still in the Philippines, you don't want to do the team viewer thing, you have to get a VPN is one way we found around it.
Yeah, we actually use TeamViewer for that, and it works for us.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, the VPN thing works as well.
So what did you do with Tony Robbins? Did you do anything with Tony Robbins as well?
Yeah, so a few years ago, like maybe, I don't know, it's probably 5 years ago now. Tony's, everybody's seen the pictures of Tony's events. I mean, he fills stadiums, and because of that, he draws a lot of eyeballs, and he gets, everybody's got a critic, especially when you're as big as Tony, everybody wants to criticize the guy. So he was getting criticized by these critics about, hey, Tony, you're really good at filling stadiums, and everybody's rah, 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 and pumped up and jumping up and down, but then they leave and they don't have anything to apply it to. So what really good does what is it good to do these events? So Tony got it's like, I'm going to prove a point. So he wanted to learn something that he could teach his students, that they could leave his event, plug into it, and go make money. And what he decided was single family home real estate. And so, the problem was he didn't know single family home real estate. So Tony, being a connector and he has access to anybody on the planet. He started asking around, like, who's the best? Like, Tony Robbins has access to anybody in the world. He's like, who is the best single family home guy on the planet? And that went to one guy, and that one guy said, go to this guy. That guy said, go to this guy. That guy said, go to the. Finally, eventually it got to Dean, and Dean said, hey, Matt's the one that does all the deals. He creates all my real estate education. He's going to have to be the one that teaches you. So I got the nod, and I sat with Tony in a hotel room at the Wynn in Las Vegas a few years ago. And literally, he was my student. He sat right across from me, literally 4 feet from me. I had a whiteboard, and I taught him how to do single family real estate for 3 days straight. He never picked up his cell phone once to check a message, never took a phone call. We barely even took bathroom breaks or ate. I mean, the dude's intense. So, I mean, I remember just being super hungry and very thirsty and having to, hit the bathroom, but not being able to. An amazing guy, an amazing student, and probably one of the smartest dudes on. Like, he literally remembered every single word I said to him. So, but yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was a great experience. And then in return, Tony was like, hey man, any event you want to go to, just let me know. I'll put you in the front row. So a few months later, I decided to go to a UPW event in San Jose, and they brought me in, they brought me all the way to the front. I had Maria Menounos sitting behind me. I had Melissa Etheridge sitting behind me, the guy that created the Survivor. What does this make? Mark, what's his name? The guy that created all these reality TV shows was sitting. Mark Burnett was sitting behind me. It was pretty cool. So I got the chance to go to one of Tony's events and literally be, this far away from him. So pretty cool.
That is awesome. So what do you invest in now? I know you have a massive portfolio. Do your people pull the trigger for your portfolio properties?
Yeah, everything. I do. I've really started pushing into some apartment buildings in the last couple of years. So I do apartments, but I still do the things I teach. I love single families. We're just really good at them. Single family homes, duplexes, fourplexes. But, I have done a lot of commercial deals as well. I'm finishing up a 12,000 square foot commercial building right now that I bought for $360,000 that I put in. Sherwin-Williams already signed a lease for that they're moving into.
Tell me about.
Yeah, I'm gonna make about $700,000 on that flip because I'll sell it as soon as it's done. I flipped a Buffalo Wild Wings building a few years ago, made $700,000 on that. I've done a lot of commercial buildings, but I'm nervous about commercial right now. Like warehouses, I'm not. Warehouses is something that I will always buy because it's kind of the Amazon effect. There's a high demand for it. But I would not personally go out and buy another Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant or office building at all. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll do about anything. I mean, when it comes to real estate, if the numbers work and I like the what that particular property is, then we buy it. But 85% of what I do, single family home, duplex, fourplex. So,
okay.
Yep.
We covered how do you find your VAs. Did you have a mentor when you started out?
No. Well, I bought how I got in. I bought one of Dean's books on an infomercial when I first originally got into real estate. But I didn't meet Dean until about 3 or 4 years into being in real estate. And then he kind of mentored me for a while. And then, I've met so many different people now. I mean, I'm in right now, one of the masterminds I'm in is Mark Evans. Some people may know who Mark is. He's a great guy. He's been mentoring for about a year. So sharp dude.
Yeah. Mark's the next level. That's like the epitome.
He is for sure. He's taught me a lot.
So we covered your asset classes. We covered that, how you identify your properties. What advice do you have for someone who's in my position who wants to get to yours?
Step one, systemize everything. Absolutely the next step. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, write a process for it. 2, hand that process over to a virtual assistant or somebody else that can run it. If you get your time free and you don't have to be really messed with all of the day-to-day little BS, you can go to the next level because you can spend more time doing the activities that generate the most income for you. That's really where most people get tripped up. And what I found is for me and when I coach somebody, when you don't have, if somebody's working 80 hours a week, they're not stuck doing, well, I was doing this for 4 hours on Monday, and then for 5 hours I was doing this on Tuesday. It's 15 minutes. I got to go do this for 15. I got to go do that spreadsheet and put that data. Hey, I got to go, look at this offer. Hey, it's 15-minute slices. It's death by little slices by razor blades. It's not the big, hey, so, it's just not. So people fool themselves into thinking, well, I've got this under control. Well, no, it doesn't matter how small the task is. Write a system, write a process, hand it off to a VA, let it automate itself.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the secret.
And that advice right there is next level. I agree, Dylan. Thank you so much, Matt. We got the advice. Where do we are? What are your best delegation tips?
This is it. I'll lay it out right now. Here's what it is. Take out a piece of paper. I'm real big on, yellow pads. Draw a line down the center of a yellow pad. On the left-hand side of the yellow pad, write down every single thing that you do in the course of your week. You could carry this around if you can't brainstorm and get it, just write it down as you go through your week. But on the left-hand side, write down everything that you do that you don't like or that you're not good at. Left-hand side, keep track. Right-hand side, write down everything you love doing or that you're really good at it. Then at the end, you only do the things that are on the right-hand side. You only do the things that you love or you're good at, and you start working through outsourcing everything on the left-hand side. You're not good at it. You don't like doing it, and you take one thing a day. So you don't overwhelm yourself with, hey, I got to do all these processes. I'll never get around to it. People won't finish a big project. But if you get one thing, you just say, okay, I got this first thing. It's okay. Like, let me give you an example. This is something I used to do. Every time I'd buy a property, I would input that property on a spreadsheet to keep track of in my personal portfolio. It was just kind of one of the things I like to do. And I figured out one day that was costing me, by the time I pulled the data, like put the address, figured out the taxes, insurance, maintenance, management, all that stuff, put in the spreadsheet. It was taking me like 5 to 7 minutes. I didn't like doing it. I wasn't really good at it. So I handed that off to somebody else. It literally that day I picked that thing, wrote out a quick little system on how to do it, handed it off to somebody else, and I've never thought about it since. Even the littlest things like that. But you've got a list on that left-hand side every single day. Figure out how to get that off your plate. Write out a process. Don't miss a thing. Write out a process and hand it off. That's it. In 60 days, you'll wake up with all your time back.
And that is absolute money. And VAs will change your life.
VAs. It's all about VAs. VAs are better than American workers. Like people think that VAs are, people think that they're like not intelligent or they're not even human beings. It's just the weirdest thing. They are robotic. A Philippine VA, their culture, their DNA is, I don't want to let this guy down. I want to work really hard and I want to impress him. They never want to leave. They don't ever want to leave their job. They don't want to say, I'm going to work for this guy for 2 years and get experience and jump over here and work for this guy. That doesn't exist. They want to work for you forever. So they want to impress you. You don't pay for their internet. You don't pay for their power. You don't pay them any benefits. They come to work every day. They never miss. They're never sick. Or they don't take sick days. They just get the job done. You have a better quality product at the end because the one thing that they do that American workers don't is they don't use discretion. Discretion is the enemy of duplication. What I mean by that is they don't use discretion. They don't think on their own. They don't say, well, I know Matt told me to do it this way, but I got a better idea. I'm going to go do it like this and impress him. That's what an American worker does. You don't want that. You can't duplicate your business. You can't duplicate that process. You want somebody that says, hey, he wrote out this process. I'm going to follow like a robot and he's going to be happy at the end of the day. And that's what I want. That's why I like VAs.
But like people think they're dumb. Most of our VAs have bachelor's degrees.
Yeah.
One of our VAs works in our company, but she's in Mexico. She has a degree in chemistry from UCLA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like people are like, oh, VAs are dumb. I don't know if they can handle it. Like that is probably the smartest person in my business, hands down.
Right. It's crazy. I can't. When people say that, I just flat out know that they've never hired a good VA and followed the process that I've created. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
And then last question, man, what do you feel about work-life balance? Like,
I'm very big on it, actually. I try to work. I definitely have more leisure time in my week than I do work time. Family first. Every weekend I go to the lake house, spend 3 days at least there. I don't work while I'm there. I get up in the morning, I work hard, I get my work done, and then I'm done for the day. I'm very big on, get out, get work off your mind, keep stress low. You guys got to realize, like, I got into real estate 15 years ago. It felt that long ago. Like that's how fast 15 years went. And, I just feel like, I'll be 45 in 2 months. I'll be 60 like that. Like it just happens fast. Enjoy life. But we're all here we want to make money. That money gives us those options. That money paid for my lake house. That money pays for my time. We have to make money. Money's the tool to get us there. So you can't not take work seriously. You just have to build it out the right way. And that's another thing that I just love about the VAs. Those VAs buy me lifestyle. They buy me the time to go, that I don't have to rush and check my email every 2 seconds,
Exactly. Thank you so much for coming on. How else can people find out about you? We're going to have links for all of your education in the Facebook comments after this.
Instagram is where I hang out the most. And I actually answer somebody sends me a message, I answer it. At Real Estate Matt is my handle. But yeah, that's primary way to find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
You bet. Glad to be on and trying to help.
All right. Thank you guys so much.